Metallicus XPR. This is a deep dive into Marshall Hayner. So consider smashing that like if you haven't done so already. We're going to get into why this individual matters to you, being XPR holder, and even for some of you guys that aren't into XPR, let's say for example you're holding Stellar, or you're just another person that don't know necessarily about all these things. This guy is so connected. He has a robust history, and absolutely, we're going to get into all of it. How would you like to earn an extra $100, $200, or even $500 a day, even more than that? I have many friends that are earning money every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you, and you will earn according to his trades. Sometimes I follow All the Money by Q, and his trades earn me money. He has a 93% success rate, and he earns a great percentage. So even if you don't know how to trade, there is a way to make money. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy, you don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the recent XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you. So let's jump into it. This is the first thing that's going to come across your screen from LinkedIn. And I like this. It mentions quite a bit about this gentleman. So number one is this top part, actually, before we get into the whole thing of Stellar. Marshall Hayner, as we know, CEO and co-founder of Metallicus and board member of the Dogecoin Foundation. I mean, for me, it's like this, Dogecoin was the very first altcoin I ever got into, believe it or not. That was back in January of 2021. Never forget my buddy calling me up on the phone saying, hey, Dogecoin's at a penny. It's definitely going to go up. Get as much as you could. And I listened to him, and the rest is history. So I'll never forget some of my roots. Sometimes you guys don't like us talking about meme coins, but, was Dogecoin your first point of entry? Was it Shiba Inu? It's where we go from there. It's called going into utility, right? So as we get further into this and why it matters to you, again, look what it mentions. So for one, San Francisco Bay Area, we know about the whole connection of Silicon Valley. But as I pull up more about this, I thought this was interesting. This guy named Will Sees, Director of Financial Institution Partnerships, he gave Marshall Hayner a shout out. And he says, it's always great to see leading publications like American Banker covering the work Metallicus is doing to help financial institutions and credit unions compliantly migrate their operations to blockchain. Metallicus always stands out as being not necessarily the one that makes the loudest noise in the room, but being the one that's consistent with compliancy. And moving forward, as we know, that's probably going to be the biggest deal. So it says a little bit more details about this. We're going to take you down to it. His experience, Metallicus from 2015 to present. Big, right? And board member of Dogecoin Foundation since 2023. So in reality, it's like, interesting to see that. Block.io, 2014 to 2015, roughly only about 6 months with them. But again, some of his connections. And this part, you guys know I've covered a lot of Stellar over the years. This really stood out for me. Even though it was briefly, he was part of Stellar Development Foundation. And that's big because, again, the community side of things. All right, let's jump into this highlight that comes from Metallicus.com. Now, Rue has done an excellent job of sharing this on his channel, on live streams and whatnot. So I'm not going to try to reiterate so much of what he mentioned. But again, the showcase here is Marshall Hayner, and some of you guys in the community have wanted a proper deep dive on him. So let's, as this mentions, meet him. Well, don't want to get into the whole thing of boring you guys with tons and tons of information, but here's what stood out for me. It says in this highlight of my own, inspired by his grandfather's career at Merrill Lynch, Marshall's respect for traditional financial systems is as robust as his enthusiasm for its evolution. As a testament to this, he donated $100,000 in blockchain-based digital assets to the First Bank of the United States for its restoration. In 2023, in recognition of his dedication and contributions, Marshall was appointed as a board member of the Dogecoin Foundation. With Metallicus, he constructed a decentralized exchange, directing 50% of the platform's proceeds back to the non-profit Dogecoin Foundation. This stands as a testament to his enduring belief in blockchain tech that serves humanity at large. And for me, actually, of all three paragraphs, this is what actually stood out to me the most. Does this gentleman have real deep connections to big conglomerates like JP Morgan? Well, apparently so. Featured in JP Morgan deep dives, Fortune 4's Metallicus and Marshall are attracting global attention. That's major. With an unwavering commitment to the true regulated potential of technology and unrivaled understanding of the industry, Marshall stands at the forefront of the cryptocurrency revolution. His tireless work and determination are set to ensure that this technology finds its rightful place in today's financial systems. For you guys out there, you're always pointing out XPR. Hey Max, hey whoever, you're talking about all this ISO related utility. Why aren't you talking more about this? Hey, I get it. If anything, this is why we do these deep dives. All right, let's take you to this next part. It's MetalX. Shout out to people like Jack Thompson, always is beating his chest when it comes to XPR, right? So Marshall Hayner reposted this recently. This is July 11th. Notice the stamp on the bottom. And it mentions here, then bring your BTC to MetalX app via the XPR network and pay no network fees. Send BTC to your WebAuth.com wallet as XBTC and start borrowing against your BTC or trade it on the DEX with zero trading or network fees. I mean, how many times have we seen stories lately about basically there's this key person, there's that key person, or some of the big names out there, they're talking about borrowing against your crypto, whether it's XRP or a Stellar or some of these other ones, because, or even BTC, like as we highlight here, because you want to put your assets into play. You want to earn some of that. As you guys know, Rue and I have covered, obviously, Swift as a Swift blockchain. And with Swift blockchain, we uncovered some things about when it did its biggest pumps many months ago, earlier in this year, that people were like, why is this happening? Again, we discovered in our own deep dive research is because it was the unbanning of altcoins. It was the unbanning of BTC, like in China. It was temporarily, right? Now back to this. What happens when the word gets out that, wow, check this out. There's something going on in which people have figured out, whether it's with word of mouth, the easiest platforms to do what? Well, like what it says, to bring BTC and pay no network fees. Borrowing against BTC, I think that's major. Now, before I kick it over to Rue, there's just a couple more things I want to point out. Notice the whole thing of the logos. MetalX. Does that not look familiar? Rue has done an excellent job on his channel about symbolism, and I have promised to chop up that video. Hey, we all get busy. I will get that out because people do need to pay attention to it. So, again, DeFi app, on-chain trading, lending, farms, perpetuals, soon powered by XRP network. We do future perpetuals on BTCC. Check it out. There's money to be made, right? use stop loss and all that, right? We'll try to get some guides out for you guys. But whatever the case be, the symbolism, as we take it from here and take it to the next part, pay attention to this logo. Why pay attention to that logo? Here's why. And this is where Rue is going to inject here in a bit. Because for those who are watching from the XRP army, this is why we included it on the thumbnail. It's XRPayNet. Yes, XRPayNet. Again, not the exact style of logo, but very similar. And like it says, the future of banking and crypto. And again, the whole concept of doing what? Being part of the most diverse payment system. People say that Metallicus is part of that system. And also, is a Metallicus part of the whole equation of being your own bank? I think the answer is yes. And this highlight right here, send and receive via SWIFT and SEPA. So we're going to kick it over to Rue. He has some key findings for you all. But brother, the way I look at it is something big going on here. And so glad to collaborate with you once again on this deep dive. Take it away.
What's up, Max? Finally got Max into the land of Metallicus, like he got me into Jasmine, and I got him into the land of Zebek. So it's nice to see him in the land of Metallicus now. As far as the X goes, come to my Patreon where I do videos on symbolism. We go into the X and how money is sacrificed. I have an entire video on that. Like, it's an impressive video. Definitely want to check that out on the Patreon. But you can see this with XRP, XLM, XDC, Elon renamed Twitter to X payments. There are a lot of X cryptos, cryptos with logos of X's like LCX, XLR, Exodus, Exchange. X is kind of synonymous with sacrifice, kind of synonymous with money. But now to get into basically Marshall Hayner. I'm always impressed with Marshall Hayner, and the guys know on my channel we've been covering Metallicus, and this is furthering the coverage of Metallicus. And now kind of the focus is on Marshall Hayner and what he's created with Metallicus as far as decentralized identity and as far as compliance. He's basically built it into the application, okay, through web auth and through some other things which we'll go over now as I share the screen here. Okay, so here we're going to focus on some things here from Grok. Here we have like the web auth wallet. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but we're going to start here with Metal Dollar. Okay, we all know that the Genius Act is coming out, and when the Genius Act hits, I spoke about this in the video today with the guys. You definitely go check it out. It's a warning XPR, XRP, and Zebek will lead the bull market. We talked about kind of stable coins and what their place will be, but this is even more focus on it. Metallicus has this own stable coin called the Metal Dollar. Okay, XMD, and there's another X, right? And stablecoin innovation. Hayner spearheaded the development of Metal Dollar, XMD, a stablecoin index basket, and pushed for the interoperable stablecoin solutions. The XPR network supports stablecoins like USDC, Circle, of course, right? There's a connection there with Zebek, but yes, the Metal Dollar is backed by USDC, and more on that later. It's also backed by PayPal USD and Paxos USD. Paxos, the company, is the company that backs PayPal USD. So when you think PayPal USD and Paxos kind of USD, kind of synonymous because they're backed by the same company. But let's continue. And plans to integrate central bank digital currency, CBDCs. Impact enhances cross-chain trading and lending, providing a regulated framework for stablecoin and DeFi and traditional finance. We also have decentralized identity and compliance solutions, innovation. Hayner advocated for the embedding of decentralized identity and AML Bank Secrecy Act compliance into blockchain systems. And he does have this actually embedded into his web auth wallet, which we're going to talk about later. Addressing regulatory hurdles. This includes the Metal Identity, a protocol for on-chain compliance across multiple chains. Impact. These solutions bridge the gap between decentralized finance and traditional finance. Okay, so he's already there towards bridging the gap between DeFi and traditional finance, and having this DID there does that, fostering trust and enabling broader adoption by institutions. Now, this is the big one here. One of the two big ones are coming up right here. First, blockchain bank and trust innovation. Hayner founded First Blockchain Bank and Trust, aiming to integrate blockchain with traditional banking services. Metallicus's acquisition of a U.S. state-level bank charter supports this vision. So they have a U.S. state bank-level charter. Okay. Impact provides a regulated platform for crypto-friendly banking, enhancing financial inclusion in the decentralized economy. And this is one of the innovations coming up here that Proton had before anybody. Okay. Proton payment streaming, a decentralized application, DApp, developed by Metallicus that enables automated payment streams on the XPR network, simplifying e-commerce checkouts with the @name-based payments without requiring sensitive financial details. So now you can get paid with an @name. So now you don't, how our bank cards kind of have it. So the bank card gives away your name. It gives away like your your card number with your name and card number, your real name, your government name, and your card number. That's kind of sensitive information. But what Proton did was they allowed you to give an @name where I could say @Blackroot. And now payment, I can stream payment with @Blackroot. No one has to know my real name. So they innovated this before anyone. And I know people think, okay, well, doesn't ZBAC have streaming payments? This is a little different. And of course, ZBAC is backed by ADP. So this is Proton having its own streaming payments as far as like with the @name based thing, and ZBAC having its own streaming payments as far as ADP goes, like straight from ADP's payment, right, with WaveLink. Revolutionize payment flows by making them interoperable across platforms, reducing friction in online transactions. So we're going to look at a couple other things here. I asked Gronk, does Metallicus Web Auth Wallet have built-in DID? And it says yes. Metallicus Web Auth Wallet has built-in support for decentralized identifiers, DID. The wallet integrates a decentralized identity protocol on the XPR network and the Metal blockchain, allowing users to create and manage a unique, human-readable on-chain identity. This DID functionality enables secure, self-sovereign identity management where users control their identity data without relying on a centralized authority. It supports features like on-chain identity verification for compliance with regulations, i.e. BSA/AML, biometric authentication like Face ID or fingerprint, and the ability to link DIDs to various blockchain interactions such as trading, lending, and accessing dApps. So again, we know that Zebek implemented some of this by purchasing GateKnox. This is also a requirement that's kind of like a looser requirement for the Genius Act, not necessarily DID, but for the Genius Act, you must have the KYC. So Metallicus had already had this embedded into their wallet. And, this is why it's also important for Zebek. The wallet's design, leveraging the secure enclave for private key storage, further enhances the security of the DID system. Now we're going to look at some posts that Marshall Hayner made himself. They kind of only further back up what we were talking about here. So here's an older post where he says, blows my mind that some people don't know about Metal ecosystem. Fully featured decentralized limit order book, Metal X app. decentralized lending, so they already have lending, which I think Max already kind of mentioned here. Native fiat ramp, so they already bridge traditional fiat to the digital world with MetalPay. Native wallet web authentication, okay, which is the DID with the web auth wallet, okay, and this is from November 14th, 2023. So they've been kind of leading the way with that. And then we have here a recent post, June 26, 2025. To my knowledge, web auth wallet by Metallicus, the digital banking network, is the only way to self-custody assets while proving ownership to a bank. Okay. Again, they're the only way to do it as of right now. Zebek is trying to do this with gate auth, but he's correct. As of this date, they're the only ones that do it. Okay, is the only way to self-custody assets while proving ownership to the bank. This is made possible with decentralized identity on chain. Metal is bridging the gap from credit union, bank to institution. From Metal is bridging the gap from credit union, bank, and institution to the blockchain. So he's 100% on that. But Zebek is also doing this with Gate Knox, but they're first. Metallicus is first. Okay. So again, another reason why, and again, they've probably had this since 2023. They're leading the way here. And here we have a post from April 17, 2025. It's always been your keys, your coins, or as shout out to Bitcoin Zaya Gentleman Crypto says, not your keys, not your crypto. And at Metallicus, we've woven into this every fiber of our platform. This is why we built Metal X app with a WebAuth wallet in a compliant, responsible manner with decentralized identity, trading, and lending at its heart, and Metal Pay as its ramp. It can't be beat. All of this runs on the XPR network, which will soon integrate as a subnet on the Metal X blockchain or on the Metal blockchain that can all interact with other credit unions, banks, and financial institutions, private networks powered by Metal Dollar, okay, as the basket index stablecoin. Wow, just all of that is very, very profound. So now you're going to have XPR as a subnet on a Metal blockchain that can interact with other banks' subnets, like other credit union subnets, other banks' subnets, other financial institutions' private networks powered by the Metal Dollar, the basket index stablecoin. Last but not least, Metal L2 to bring X tokens and all blue chip assets to the super chain and ultimately to Ethereum and all popular L1 and L2 blockchains. The digital banking network has arrived. Very powerful there. And here we have a post that he made kind of towards Elon, where this is December 9th, 2024. It's already in production at Metallicus and will launch shortly, starting with a Doge Department of I forget what they call Doge. Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah. DAO dashboard for American citizens to make government efficiency proposals and vote on U.S. citizenship enforced by decentralized identity on the XPR with the WebAuth wallet. So there we go there. And I just wanted to let you know here that one. And I think Max is going to show one other thing here. And then I'm going to come back and show you guys something that supports that.
Sounds good, Rue. We're going to jump into this real quick before we kick back over to what Rue has. And it's this interview. I've gone ahead and clipped this. This is an interview roughly about a year ago. So I want to share this, again, back to the whole thing of Marshall Hayner. So let's go ahead and share this tab instead. Let's pull it up. And what you're going to see here is this. And basically, it mentions here from, I don't know how if this person's channel is active or not. That's beyond the point. But um, the channel was technically Talking Tokens Podcast. It says Crypto OG talks Dogecoin and building Metallicus. This was literally on Independence Day 2024 last year. Marshall Hayner and Jacqueline Melinek. Okay, so again, I fast forward this key part. It's not super long, but listen to what Marshall Hayner has to say. I do think it's a really, really big deal. Let's go ahead and play this. We'll jump back here in just a brief bit. Here we go.
I think as all of that stuff starts to converge together and become simpler, when you move between apps, if I'm in Revolut and I move between PayPal and I move between Venmo or I go to Zelle or something, I should be able to link my identity between these things, and they should be able to move assets between each other. And imagine in the future when credit cards, the whole points thing is out the window, and now the points are just part of your identity that follows you around when you Face ID in different apps.
Okay, before we kick it over to Rue, now watch this. You guys know I always talk about Quant, and of course, Rue's going to jump in here. Look at this. So think about what he just mentioned in regard to Revolut. Boom, as I would say, boil it, mash it, stick it in stew. Overledger, connecting over to Revolut Business, create a draft payment like it mentions here, right? Then from here, kicking it down to PayPal, activate a plan. It could be any plan. He also mentioned things like Venmo. I'll show you another example about Venmo in here in a bit. Notice, for example, some other things he mentioned. I think he mentioned Stripe, Wells Fargo. I mean, think about how this is all going to come together. Now, what's interesting is even if you were going to take it farther, right? Let's say, for example, you had, again, the concept of Venmo, all right? Does this even have Venmo support? Yeah, it has Venmo support. And if anything, watch what happens. Then you route that to maybe something else. So interesting to see the orchestration of all this. And then we'll show you another quote here in a bit on why this makes sense. But Rue, I mean, I'm going to jump back to you. I don't know if you want to just chime in on this real quick. Again, think about what he mentioned a year ago, and boom, it's all there.
Man, it's all there. It's all there. You look at Revolut, you look at Stripe, and what was the other one? PayPal. PayPal. That's everything there. Like, so Stripe, of course, we know has connections to Stellar. He spent some time, Marshall Hayner spent some time at Stellar. We know he just mentioned Revolut, and we know Tim Draper owns a piece of Revolut. We also know Revolut has tons of Quant there. You've talked about that, right, Max? So Revolut also is what Zebek is basing their super app off of. And remember, Tim Draper has connections to Zebek being an owner of Coinbase and Coinbase Ventures being an owner of Zebek. Okay. And of course, Zebek's owner, Sam, or their head, Sam Tafalia, has said that he's spoken to Tim Draper as early as 2017. So that's not even a reach there. So now with the PayPal connection there, right? I want to show you guys something. Remember we spoke earlier on Metal Dollar, okay? I have pulled up Metal Dollar here, okay? Let me know when they can see this, Max.
Yeah, they see it.
So Metal Dollar, remember we said it was a basket of dollars, okay? Metal Dollar is a reserve-backed stablecoin index treasury. Treasury contains USDC, right, which we just mentioned, PayPal USD, and USDP, which is Paxos's USD. All within a smart contract managed basket optimized for risk distribution. You may mint or redeem any basket stablecoin for Metal Dollar. And this is further shown here. If you look down here, you see USDC, Paxos dollar, PayPal dollar. You also see Tether there. But again, you can see that these are all together with Metal Dollar. And it's just like Marshall said, you can have all of these connected. He basically described the picture that Max mentioned here. Now, I want to show you it in action. Now, with the bank having their own stablecoin. Now, I broke this down in a complete show, which we're not going to have time to go over all of it here. But we'll go over a little bit of it. Fiserv launches new FI-USD stablecoin for financial institutions. So I had a whole show in which, and we'll talk about it a little bit here, which I broke this all down. Definitely go check it out, guys, on my channel, which it is Zebek News, huge discovery. Everyone missed. XPR involved too. But now if we go back here, so what we notice here is Fiserv expects to use the stablecoin infrastructure from Paxos and Circle, right? Who does that scream? That screams definitely Zebek, and it also screams, like we just saw, XPR, okay? And why does this scream XPR? Because Fiserv is a partner of XPR. And remember, what he just said and what we just read was, okay, companies will be able to kind of bolt on their own stablecoin and connect it to Metallicus. He said that. It said it in the articles, and this is it coming to fruition right now. Now, if we go here and look at their vendors and integrations, we see, bam, Fiserv is one of their vendors and integrations. So it's already happening, guys, right now. And the reason why I think this is happening right now, that Fiserv article that I just showed you, that is dated June 23rd, 2025, is because the Genius Act is so close to being signed. In fact, like, I think it was signed at June 17th, 2025, but you know, things are not official, right? So
I just wanted to inject real quick. So
sure.
On this page you have up is Tenemos. And again, think about Marshall Hayner's background was briefly with Stellar, but we know about when it comes to Metallicus and basically Fednow. We also know that Tenemos, you have, that's basically Stellar's plug to Fednow, but Metallicus already has that. So it's kind of like interesting that you have this guy who's Marshall Hayner, and that common ground between the two is the Fednow plug. Tenemos, Fednow. Metallicus, Fednow. Again, temporary background with Stellar. Again, I just find it incredibly interesting, Rue. The findings is the bottom line.
No, that's perfect, Max. So again, this shows that Metallicus has the perfect inroads into Fednow. Of course, we already know that if you go to the newsroom here, that these guys are a Fednow service provider. So we know they're connected into Tenemos, like Max just said. We know Max just said it that Stellar's connected in there, but of course Metallicus has its own route there. And if we were to go now to the company, right, we know that Ripple, right? Ripple just had a huge deal with BNY Mellon, in which BNY Mellon is going to do something for Ripple. If we go down here, we see that Mark Joseph, former managing counsel at BNY Mellon, is on their board of directors. Okay, so it's quite clear that Metallicus, to me, is going to have its own place here, and it's going to be for credit unions. It's going to be for companies like Fiserv, because they do have the BNY Mellon connection. They do have the Tenemos connection. They do have the Fiserv connection. Okay, it's quite clear to me when we see this, right? And let me just reference here 1 second. Let me bring it up while you guys are looking at Metal Dollar. I just wanted to bring up the recent news about Ripple with BNY, so you guys know that and you can see the receipt on that. I'll be bringing that up right now. Here it is. Announcement: BNY selected to serve as the primary reserve custodian of Ripple's enterprise-grade stablecoin, Ripple USD, RLUSD. BNY and Ripple are jointly committed to paving the way for digital asset adoption at an institutional scale and are together helping to bridge the gap between traditional finance and cryptocurrency ecosystems. That is a constant theme today, and it continues to carry out. What do you think, Max?
What I think is there's too much here to dismiss. That's what I think, and that's why we're bringing it up to you guys. Here's the final thing that we want to share with you guys, and then we're going to wrap up this deep dive because it's obviously a deepest dives. We've in reality done ones longer, right? That's not the point. I want to share this one. This is good too. So there was a 2015. I know some of you guys are like, "Why are you going back 10 years?" Just hear me out. Pump the brakes. There's a 2015 interview with Coin. What is it referred to? Coin Speaker. Okay, just you got to see this. Okay, this is good stuff. Hopefully you guys appreciate this. So let's pull this off and put this on. So you see here this Marshall Hayner interview. What does it say? It says it's important to say that Stellar was linked to Stripe. Wow. Moreover, Stripe ran the show. Okay. Marshall Hayner, yeah, Marshall Hayner, my goodness, right? Stellar's former head of community, remember how I cited that at the very beginning of the outline? Said, quote, everything I did had to go through Stripe and it made it hard to move. Interesting. And then this bottom part, still Stripe didn't want to be too close at that time to Stellar. The reason was obvious. Stripe depended on Wells Fargo, a merchant bank. Wow. And again, to pound it home, what do you see in this visual? Oh, no big deal. Just that. You know, nothing to see here. So again, this is why we give you guys all these particular examples, and to address the whole thing, I guess I'll just mention this briefly. At that time, again, 10 years ago, 2015, Stripe didn't want to be too close to Stellar. The reason was obvious. The Observer called Stripe's backing of Mr. McCaleb's a red flag. Again, this is 10 years ago. Please listen to what we're saying. The bank was skeptical of this post-scandal story related to Mt. Gox and, Magical Tux, so on. Been there and done that. And if anything, has this been ever addressed? Well, numerous times. I asked Grok about this, and it says the 2015 claims about Stellar's lack of social conscience and undisclosed insider holdings were partially valid at the time. Again, at the time, 10 years ago, reflecting the nascent crypto industry's lack of transparency and Stellar's early struggles. Right. But that's been addressed numerous times. And of course, to establish credibility. But however, as of now, right, in July 2025, Stellar, of course, has addressed these concerns through, number one, demonstrable social impact via partnerships. Well, no kidding. Obviously, PayPal stands out, like I said, UN, MoneyGram, increased transparency, XLM distribution, including 2019 token burn public reports. And of course, there has been no major regulatory or operational scandals, unlike what happened with Ripple, the SEC lawsuit. But even with Ripple, again, we've already been there and done that. So this has all been addressed. But again, I just thought, this should be your takeaway about the whole thing of Stripe. Because if it is, then you see things like this, and then you see Rue's examples. And if anything, your closing thoughts, Mr. Rue Black.
Man, I'm really excited for Metallicus. They definitely have, when you guys go look into it, they have 4 coins in their system. They have Metal, they have MTL, they have Loan, and they have XPR. Shout out to my patrons. I let them know about Metal, and Metal's moved up like a 2x here within the last week. Shout out to those guys. But, you might want to see which coin works for you. Metal's been moving now, and so has XPR. But with them having Fednow, being a Fednow service provider, and ISO for FedWire is going live tomorrow. I don't know when this video is going to air, but that's going live 7/14/2025. You might really want to be looking into XPR and the XPR ecosystem. A lot of people on my channel, because I said, we've been talking about it already, want to know where to buy it. You would look for MetalPay. MetalPay is an app that you can get on Google Play or on your iPhone. MetalPay app is the best app to go buy Metal, all the Metal coins if you're looking for it. Okay, of course, not financial advice for not financial advisors, but if you're looking for where to buy it, that's where you want to go. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Well, you're very welcome. Glad to do a collaboration with the Brother Roo. We didn't do it at the beginning of the outline, but you usually do the whole thing of the back with the Brother Roo, and then we're like, bam. So,
Bam.
bam. So, with that said, thanks again for tuning in. And as we always mention, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps flood 110%. Do us a solid and let us know if you listen to the entire outline. And Roo, you get the honor of mentioning what that code word is if they listen all the way.
Marshall.
Marshall,
Have you
as a
put
Marshall
it?
Hayner. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys made it to the end, put in Marshall, and we'll know you made it to the end. And thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Thanks again. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.